Hello, hello, hello. You're tuning into another episode of TheWunderkindShow. Today's second topic. I could have been wrong. Here's the thing, and we're going to talk about it. After seeing, witnessing, watching the camaraderie that is being built between a Lamar and an Odell, I actually wondered today, I said, with them building such a foundation of trust and a commitment to one another, is it possible that the Ravens could actually keep him after this year? Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people are going to say, yo, of course. Yeah, of course they can. Duh, Nitro. Money grows on trees. We just print more. But none of us knows the future. I originally said, the reason I'm bringing this up, because I'm questioning myself. And I originally said, there's no way I see Odell here next year. Simply because if they win, right, I don't see the Ravens paying him that money again. I don't. And do you think he's willing to take a discount to run it back a second year? I don't know. So I said that if we win, I don't see Odell back with us next season. I don't. That's how I was. But then watching Odell and Lamar, hearing the way Lamar talks and speaks of him, could Lamar force the Ravens to keep him? Hear me out. Hear me out. So, we know he signed an $18 million deal for one season. $15 million guaranteed, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, he put there was a couple void years at the end to help smooth that thing out for the foreseeable future, to push that cap hit down the road, kick that can down the road. Well, I'm on the road again. You know what I'm talking about. But could the Ravens and OBJ somehow come to an extension? I know I'm wishing on a star. I know I'm living right now in Wonderland. But riddle me that. Humor me. I never thought that the Ravens, because the Ravens historically, when they win, the whole team goes bye-bye, especially on the offensive end. But could this be the year that the Ravens say, no, we're not. Let's try to run it back 2-3 years, see what we can get out of it. That's what I started wondering, simply because of what I'm seeing from Odell and Lamar. I know they traded his best friend in Hollywood. That was part of the reasoning why I said, well, nobody's safe on the offensive end then. But what if Lamar said no? No, work out a deal. I want to win. I feel like our best chances to win with him, we're building something. We've built something. Let's keep it going. Do the Ravens change the way that they do business if the Ravens win and to keep Lamar Jackson happy? That's where I'm going with this. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of things that changed when Lamar started saying, we're doing things differently or I'm not coming back. There's a lot of things that changed. For one, even getting Odell for 1 year, that was a big change. Paying him that money was a huge change. You know where I'm coming from? So my thing is what we've been seeing an indictment on things to come, or was it just a Band-Aid to patch things up, to hold things together, that they can hopefully win something before the whole thing falls apart? We all know Lamar's not going nowhere. That's a fact. He's not going nowhere. They locked him in. He's locked in for at least the next 2-3 years. But I always said that Zay would have to take another step. Now, if Zay comes in and has a great rookie season, let's say 900 yards receiving, which is that's a very good rookie season. You would expect him to take another jump next year. Would the Ravens cheap out and say, why are we paying another receiver when we could just give Zay more touches and save some money? And that's where I'm coming down with this. Look, we already discussed this, right? Because I touched on it, why I believe OBJ won't be with us for more than a year. But what if I'm wrong? What if the Ravens actually say, no, we're doing it differently. We're going to change things up. We want to try to milk this thing as far as possible. Pause. Can you guys see the Ravens doing business differently to keep him on here? Because here's my thing. If OBJ and Lamar become like this, and they're winning and putting up stats, could the Ravens be coerced and put pressure on by not just Lamar, but the media to retain an Odell Beckham Jr.? What if Odell has a resurgence here this year? I was thinking about this. What if Bateman does, because I said that I don't feel like Bateman's going to start off the year. I feel like they're going to ease him in. But what happens if they're not ramping up OBJ? What happens if OBJ hits the ground running and he has a 1,200-yard receiving season this year? Do they say, hey, bye-bye Bate? Or do they keep Bate and say, we're not picking up your fifth-year option, play on that one, and of course Zay would be his second year, and then OBJ will give you an extension. 2-year extension. Listen, I know y'all are probably looking at me like, Nitro, why are you doing this? Because I have an imaginative mind. That's why I come up with all these scenarios. And what I'm pretty much doing, just like you've seen in the Spider-Verse, I'm nearly following the thread and making connections. That's all I'm doing. But it is still quite intriguing, right? Because we've seen the Ravens win and absolutely gut the entire team to save money. But we've never had a quarterback like Lamar. We've never had an offensive piece like Lamar. So then does that change the way that they do their team construction for the foreseeable future as long as he is taking the reins in Baltimore? As long as he's behind the steering wheel in Baltimore? What do you guys think? Because I've started doubting. I was like, yo, if Lamar's building this great rapport with Odell, would he want Odell to leave? Could he talk Odell to stay? And what would be Odell's asking price? I just seen Russell Westbrook. And I want to make sure I say this too, off the football stuff. Russell Westbrook is one of the top 10 greatest point guards to ever live. I would even go as far as to say he's a top 6 point guard to ever play the game of basketball. And for anybody saying he's just a stat patter or whatever else like that it is, nobody has been able to average a triple-double except for him and Oscar Robinson. And Russell did it for 4 consecutive seasons. His winning percentage with it is like 80% or something like that when he dropped a triple-double. But what I'm saying is, just the other day, for all of the accolades that Russell Westbrook has accumulated over his illustrious career, he took a 2-year deal for $8 million to stay in Los Angeles Clippers. Now, here's the kicker. He's from there. That's where he's born. He's born in L.A. He was from the Lakers, so they're in the same building. So he didn't do anything. He just moved the stuff down the hall. That's all that happened. So I get where you'd be like, well, it's different circumstances. But I'm not saying he would take less like how Russell, because Russell absolutely took a deal for that team. But could you see could the Ravens be able to pay him $22 million deal for 2 years? $25 million deal for 2 years? somewhere in that vicinity, somewhere in that ballpark, could you see it happening? And if you could, that means it's a possibility. It's a possibility. But hey, if we're winning, and I told y'all this before, I don't want to go nowhere. I'm just accustomed to how the Ravens do business historically. But there's a lot of ifs this year. There's a lot of ifs on this team. There is. That can make the Ravens change. But what do you guys think? Tell me down in the comment section. Do you guys feel that with what Lamar and him is building, if the Ravens win, there is some chance that he can actually remain a Raven after this season? Tell me down in the comment section, okay? But once again, this is an episode of The Wunderkind Show. Thank you all for watching. You know how we get down, we have fun, and we laugh. But everything we talk about rooted in what? Facts and truth. Please do remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. You know I love the comments. Just be respectful. That's literally all I ask. And if you would like to leave a donation to this platform and help it grow, bottom of the screen right here is a QR code. That QR code is to a Cash App. The Cash App is located in the description of every video that we do, and the name of it is The Wunderkind Show. Also available is the Patreon. You want behind the scenes access, sweepstakes, Discord, fantasy football. That's how you do it. Go out there and get it. It's totally worth it, and it's going to be an absolute changer when regular season starts, especially when regular season starts. But once again, this is The Wunderkind Show. This is Joe's Natural signing off, and as always, you guys know my slogan. Peace. And I am out of here.